Welcome back to Quantum Conversations. My name is Sarah, and today my co-host Carrie Bennett and I are going to be making these complex topics of quantum biology and circadian biology understandable to the everyday person. Thank you so much for tuning in. We ask that if you are listening on audio only, that you take a moment to leave us up to a 5-star review. And if you're on YouTube, leave us a like, leave us a comment. It will help to get the show out to more people. And before we jump into today's topic, just a quick reminder to head down to the show notes and check out my free resources as well as Carrie's free resources. We also do have courses on a variety of topics. If you are hoping to dive deeper, Carrie and I both have practitioner courses available as well for anyone who wants to begin to bring these topics to their clients and help them to implement these strategies into their daily lives. So check those out. We also have a co-taught course called Quantum Fertility that is available that allows people and practitioners to work on their fertility using these principles of quantum biology and circadian biology. Again, thank you so much for listening or watching today's show, whichever one you are doing. And let's go ahead and jump into it now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Quantum Conversations. Today, we are going to talk about the immune system, autoimmune conditions. We'll see where it goes, right, Carrie?
Yeah, because, and I don't want to say that I'm an expert in autoimmune conditions. I've definitely seen many autoimmune conditions reversed, right? We've seen it reversed through our lens. And I started diving into why would the body just attack itself? And I used to buy into you eat certain proteins and you've got leaky gut, and those protein markers look like your thyroid, or they look like your pancreas, or they look like your joints. And so now all of a sudden your immune system is going to attack that as well. And I'm like, but what about my clients who've healed their gut? What about my clients and are still experiencing symptoms? What about my clients who literally are on such restrictive diets because of how, bad they feel? Like, what about these people I don't think that's really at play. And it just led me into, a very much more of a terrain-based theory about what's going on with this. And so with a lot of things, I think I just was half informed, and it, sure, it made sense. The immune system is just going to attack you because it's attacking something else, but body is too intelligent to want to attack itself, right?
Agree. And I can't buy into that boogeyman mentality. Honestly, it just doesn't serve me. It's scary. I've been there the last couple of years with my daughter, and it doesn't serve anybody to have that mentality. And I know you get it a lot in your community. I get it a lot in my community of someone who says, I have these 10 diagnoses, I have all these different viruses, I have all these different, and it is scary. It can be very scary. I had Hashimoto's antibodies in my 30s and my mid 30s. Those have been at 0 for years now. So I do believe it's possible to, get the labs looking how you want them to look. But what's more important is to feel better and get your body back to optimal functioning without going through the traditional or even the functional medicine kind of pathway.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's so much more empowering, I think, through this lens. And you mentioned so much, because this does go hand in hand. Oftentimes when I have people with autoimmune conditions, I have people with Lyme as well, with heavy metals, with parasites, viruses, right? All these things that they've been diagnosed with in some way or one way or the other. And it's like, gosh, have you just, got the raw end of the deal here and have just been completely bombarded by all of this stuff, and now like you're a victim? Or does your body just, is it housing diseased or damaged tissue? And these things that you have and you've been diagnosed with are things that your body is maybe utilizing as a cleanup crew to support the tissue damage that's going on. The analogy that I've used for a long time is, if an animal dies in a forest, what happens to it? it goes through various layers of decomposition, starting maybe the vultures come in, right? Or the animals come in, they eat off of the flesh. But at some point you have bacteria, and then you've got fungi. And then, you got various microorganisms that come to essentially degrade this diseased or damaged tissue, this devitalized tissue, I'll call it, and now restore it back to a vital soil. I'm a firm believer that that's what's happening in the body as well. Especially with people who literally live urban indoor lifestyles, who I know who've had Lyme disease or so it's like people who have never once been close to a tick bite, now all of a sudden have spirochetes in their blood. And so, yes, you may have spirochetes, but so this led me down have you been down the pleomorphism rabbit hole?
No.
So pleomorphism, I don't know who originally coined that. Maybe Béchamp. That was the whole germ theory, terrain theory. What pleomorphism is, and what has gotten written out of any sort of medical textbooks, is this idea that we harbor these microorganisms in our body that can change their shape and their function depending on the needs of the body. And it's been shown, this has been shown many, many times. So if you have a certain type of tissue degradation going on, let's say you've been toxin exposed, let's say, and that toxin got inside of some of your cells, maybe in your thyroid, maybe in your, your liver, right? And all of a sudden your cells are dysfunctional. So through our lens, that would be creating mitochondrial dysfunction and then reducing the amount of exclusion zone water and ATP and infrared inside of the cell, which is what's needed to maintain healthy cellular energy. So now you have a cell that has less and less energy, and it can allow more toxicities in, because that exclusion zone water is lacking, more toxins can get in. And it reaches this critical threshold of not having adequate energy, and the cells have means of trying to get stuff out. So it's creating these little vesicles to try to get stuff out so that it can be cleared by the immune system and the lymphatic system that lives around the cell. And interestingly, those little vesicles have been termed things like exosomes that look identical to viruses when you study them, right, in electron microscopy. And so I don't care about what you want to call it, but I think we have the wrong indication. I think things are there because of either tissue damage the cell is trying to clear itself from using vesicle transport, or when it can't clear the damage, when the immune system can't clear the damage around the cell, these pleomorphic microorganisms such as bacteria, fungi, parasites come in and help to degrade it in the same way that they do to devitalized flesh in a forest, right?
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to me. It makes absolute sense, but I don't know if people are ready for that.
I don't know. I'm going to get slammed for this.
I'm ready for it. I think it's totally on.
Well, I am too. And like I said, I'm not an expert. This has literally been a new rabbit hole for me, because you and I have seen time and time again where killing protocols have not worked. Right? It's
made it worse, way worse.
Right. Or temporarily someone feels better because let me put it this way. And I'm just going from clinical experience. People will come to me saying, I've been on a parasite cleanse and I felt good for a little while, and then I started to feel bad again. Yeah. Or, I went on a fungal cleanse or a candida cleanse and I felt good for a little while and then it came back, or this viral infection came back. Yeah. And it's like, why would it be coming back? It's because you still have devitalized low energy tissue in there, right? You still have a breeding ground for these organisms to go to. And their job is to try to help heal that tissue or cleanse that tissue, or at least the area surrounding the tissue. And if you kill them, sure, you might feel better temporarily.
For a little bit.
Because, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, they're probably producing histamine, or the immune system is producing histamine in response to these things to be like, okay, we know you need to be here, but don't be here for too long, right? Because we need to resolve. We need ultimately, the inflammation to be resolved. And so, yes, maybe it feels good temporarily, but you and I have said this time and time again. I've never seen people just do a killing protocol and then come away and feel like, oh, yep, that was it. Game changer. I'm perfect now. Never again do I need to do something ever again in my life to support my health.
It typically becomes like a cycle. Like you were saying, they do it once and then they feel a little bit better. or not. Sometimes they don't even get that far, but a lot of times they'll feel better and then they have to do it again and they have to continue doing it over and over again. And they are also, when they're killing things, they're getting rid of the good things that are there as well.
Depending, absolutely. Yeah, so, depending on the protocol. For
get rid of minerals that are needed to run energy systems in the body, possible good bacteria, good organisms that are there. So that's doing all these killing protocols never really resonated for me, even though I did have a child that had all these markers of Lyme and EBV and pandas and autoimmune encephalitis and some pretty scary mold, scary stuff on paper. And I've had people comment on my channel, when I've talked about this, well, you're never going to be able to just get rid of those things. The body doesn't have the ability to just get rid of it. You're going to have to do like Shoemaker protocol or one of these protocols to get rid of it. And I'm just like, I'm not there yet. I'm not convinced of that. I'm really not.
I mean, I'm not either. And I think I have nothing wrong with other practitioners and their protocols, right? I think they're always trying to come up with a solution through their lens. But I've seen enough people, I won't name names, but I've seen enough people do insanely extensive protocols and not get better. Or maybe get a little bit better, but not fully resolved, right? And so to me, it means we haven't yet addressed what the root cause is.
Yeah. Why is this happening?
In people who have done parasite stuff, like, for example, they've also cleaned up their diet. They've also done, and they're not using any more toxins, like toxic products in their environment. They're doing sunlight on the skin. They're setting their circadian rhythm. They're doing things to support exclusion zone water. And so I have had a couple of people who then did, using, for example, rife frequencies, do a specific pathogenic organism cleanse in their body. And they felt better and they stayed better, but they were doing all the other things which built that redox, built that charge in their tissues, so that they kind of helped their body get rid of those final little microorganisms, right? The stragglers, right? And then they felt better. So fine. And if you found something that works for you, by all means, continue to do it. But the number of people who I've heard have been on this journey of killing, either feeling a little bit better, feeling worse, killing. It's just, to me, it's not, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah. I just don't think that there's a lot of options for people out there. And, when I was going through everything with my daughter, it was like, and I'm still navigating, still trying to figure it out, and still on the road, I guess you could say. But you get these labs, you get the results, and then, okay, we got to do all these things, and the options to support the person, if you even look in the alternative world, are these protocols. There's not people that are out there saying, like, let's improve redox function, let's support mitochondria. I think those people are on the way. I'm very hopeful that we're creating a network of, practitioners that are more informed in this way. But right now, for the average person, they're stepping outside of the allopathic box and going to alternative. And then they're like, wait, this isn't better,
Yeah, exactly. And so
we want to talk a little bit about why we both use more red light therapy in the winter really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Come summer, it is so easy for me to pop outside for 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, take the clothes off, and just soak up the natural light, right? And I know you do. I know you do the same. And it's beautiful because we're getting all of those red and near infrared wavelengths from the sun and imparting all those healing benefits from sunlight. But come, November, December in Michigan, there's very little opportunity for me to do that. It's just too cold, and so I'll go outside and get my light signaling through my eyes, but my skin really, that infrared and red that I want to absorb through my skin is just lacking. And so that's why I would highly recommend, if you live in an environment like that, you consider using a red light therapy panel in the winter. It can be the biggest game changer.
Yeah. And we both love the Bon Charge Mini. This is super convenient. You can take it with you traveling. You guys don't know when I'm recording the podcast, half the time I have it on my low back or somewhere in my body to mitigate some of this blue light. And for the months of November and December, you can use the code QuantumPod25 for November and December only to get 25% off the panel or anything on the Bon Charge website. Carrie and I are both big fans.
Yeah. And one more thing really quickly with that. It's a great gift too, right? If you want to start getting people involved in this lifestyle and say it's the most convenient way, if there's a mom that you know who needs to tend to boo-boos and aches and pains for kids, or earaches, tummy aches, sore throats, it's a phenomenal gift to give as well, because it really can wipe away pain very fast.
I love it. All right, check it out. Link is in the show notes.
I think you and I have seen that kind of just reaffirms our concept of like a devitalized tissue, which is a tissue that lacks exclusion zone water and healthy mitochondria and healthy minerals, right? Those all go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. That devitalized tissue, can we actually see reductions in markers of viral infection, or reductions in markers of parasitic infections or fungal infections when we improve that healthy charge inside of the cell? And the answer is yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I've seen many things shift when people work on building exclusion zone water or supporting mitochondria and their ability to produce that water. So this is where so much of the autoimmune conditions are, it's what you're eating and it's killing and it's attacking you. It's like, but wait, why are you and I seeing shifts and changes? I literally have a woman who used the circadian stuff that I teach with the exclusion zone water and nature stuff that I teach in conjunction with Veda's water crystallography, and kind of using that as an source of informed water. Use that combination, and she healed from multiple debilitating autoimmune conditions after a certain mandate.
Medical intervention.
Right. Yeah. And so, it can absolutely, I just want to open people's minds to be like, maybe those things are there, and maybe your immune system is overreacting to something, but it's not what we've been taught. And maybe there's a different way to go about it that doesn't involve even what the functional medicine paradigm says currently.
Right. I agree, because it's not empowering and it is expensive, and not a lot of people are able to invest in those things. It's like, well, sorry, you just got to be sick, which I hate. And one of my goals for 2025, just going to say it out there, is I really want to create a nonprofit foundation where I'm giving Axiom hydrogen machines to children like my daughter, to their families that they can't afford it. Like, I want to create something like that. I'm just putting it out there where I can help these families with these children who are just locked in their homes. They're out of options and they're scared, and it's just terrifying, because that has been the thing for us that has allowed us to keep her here, and it makes sense when you look at health through this lens, because like I said, she had a laundry list of diagnoses which were presenting with very scary symptoms. And, we're still on the road. We're still figuring it out. But that's the thing we've done. Like I was just telling you before we turn our record, over Thanksgiving, she's on hydrogen 6, sometimes 8 hours a day, and we're also working a little bit with some informed water, which sounds very, very out there. I have a podcast episode coming out in January on my channel, but I'm at this place where I'm like, why not? What if everything we're being told and sold is wrong, and the body is so much more intelligent than that? I am willing to sit here and say that, rather than go into fear and believe that the body would attack itself.
Well, and I think especially with molecular hydrogen, I just put out a video for my YouTube channel and for my newsletter. So my newsletter stuff videos go to my YouTube channel, which only has 7,000 followers. So it's not like it's like huge YouTube channel.
It's
I know,
good.
not bad. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, it's growing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, so I just recorded a video. This is one's practitioner specific about molecular hydrogen.
Mhm.
And it almost seems too good to be true. I was just, before we got on, I was talking with you kind of about this whole concept in immunosuppressive versus immunostimulatory conditions. And sometimes you'll see one part higher, but sometimes it's just dysregulation on both ends.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, let me dive into the research and see what molecular hydrogen has been shown to do to support immune system optimization. And sure enough, it acts as an adaptogen in the immune system as well, which makes sense. It acts as an adaptogen to promote or to suppress unhealthy inflammation, to promote healthy inflammation, because we do have healthy inflammation.
Yes.
So why wouldn't it act as an adaptogen in terms of supporting kind of a balanced immune activation? This was specifically through the lens of T regulatory cells, but I found that to be so fascinating. So yes, what we're kind of searching for here is something that, yes, it's providing redox, it's providing energy, it's supporting mitochondria, it's controlling aggressive inflammation, but oh, guess what? It has a side benefit of kind of acting as an immune system adaptogen as well. So for me, it's like, this is why perhaps your daughter is experiencing the results that she's been seeing with something like autoimmune encephalitis.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very promising and it's exciting. Like I said, I'm just putting it out there, my nonprofit.
Yeah, your daughter's not, because your reason why you're doing this, because your daughter's not the only one. You have other families who have nonverbal autistic children who were kind of experiencing the same things as your daughter was, right?
In my community of children that I know personally, I know their parents, and it's so heartbreaking. One of her friends, I've talked about it before, when she was in the ICU, I couldn't even deal because he passed away from a seizure at 17. It's just freaking tragic. I get sad just thinking about it because it's just a beautiful family, a beautiful child, and just died. Unfortunately, because they could never get to the bottom of things. And they were very much not, I don't blame anybody who uses allopathic medicine. I don't blame, because I've had to do it multiple times for my daughter while I do these other things. I've had to. You have to sometimes. But it shouldn't be the be all. And we see it as like, okay, it's a patch while we're doing this other stuff, not like this is the fix, this is the cure. It's like, sometimes you have to do this. And so all the kids I know here in the Atlanta area, they're all on medications. My daughter, just knock on wood, just came off of one, thank God, she'd been on. And every time I would try to take her off, she would have a massive crash. And again, it's like, I'm praying that we continue just to see improvement with her. But what have we done? Just literally, like I said, sometimes 6-8 hours of hydrogen a day. And now we're playing with this informed water, which it's basically giving the body instructions,
information. It's energy and it's information, right?
Yes.
That's homeopathy. It's information.
Yes.
Sunlight on the skin, that's energy. Earthing is energy and information. Sunlight's information as well. Everything for me boils down to energy and information. And at the smallest scale of the universe, they're inseparable. And we just kind of start to see how they manifest, maybe a little bit more one than the other in our world. But when it comes down to it, that's what the body is lacking. And it's just a fun paradigm to be a clinician in, to observe, to have a community, to continue to learn. Because this is just, you and I, it's daunting, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to be like, well, let's see what we can learn about this really random thing through this lens,
Right. I know. That's what I said before we turn on the camera. I'm like, I just said a little prayer, like, hey, God, that would be cool if we could stop using my family to learn on. I'm available to hear this through people in my community, through listeners. Like, I'm cool if we can not have it in my house.
Right.
Yeah, but it's,
I know. No, but I think, and yes, I would love that prayer to come to fruition. Your gift has been the ability to learn and kind of experiment with different things. And figure it out and then communicate it to people. So we are blessed to have you. So, but yeah, let's pass the buck on to someone.
I'm good with the life lessons for now. I mean, you never stop getting life lessons, but
a little break. So just kind of in terms of like out there stuff, this is like a bit of a tangent, but I was researching cosmic tower stuff. It's that stuff we haven't talked about in quite some time on this channel. But this one, so this is energy and information, right? So the cosmic tower works on the level of life force energy, right? So enhancing the life force vitality of a space, which is the same thing that you'll find at sacred power spots around the world. But it also then can be a projector of intent and information. And so this one guy who is an expert dowser at the same types of dowsing practices that I've learned through biogeometry, he measured, his space before and after the cosmic tower came, and it showed a massive increase in life force energy. And what he was doing, again, this is just anecdotal, but he put people, family members, friends that he knew needed healing. He literally would put their pictures on the cosmic tower with the intention of basically saying, please, help heal in whatever capacity possible this person beyond what I could possibly imagine. And he would literally get phone calls the next day or days later to be like, it's like, it's a miracle. It's just like, we just don't know. We've just not been taught about what we can do with things like this. So that's why I'm so in love with this area.
This realm.
Right.
That's so funny. I don't know if you know Todd. Do you know Todd Shipman? He was Biohacker Todd. He does all the combo ceremonies, and he connected me with Ian Mitchell. And
okay. Yeah.
He got me in touch with Lila Q, and I got a cube. This was a couple of years ago. It was when I was pregnant that we got our first cube. And he told me to do something very similar with the cube, to write down intentions, and I had taken my daughter's picture and done the same thing with that cube. And I did my son when he was dealing with really bad eczema. And I was just distraught about both kids. Like, she's doing the seizures, he's doing the eczema. I'm like, what in the heck? And so why would I not just take their picture and write?
Yeah.
And I look back because I still have those pictures. I also have those intentions that I set for myself, my business, and all those other things. So maybe I need to do this foundation in the cube too. And they have all come to pass, like all of it. And so I do, and I haven't tried the tower. So I have work to do when we get on here with our tower. The realm of possibilities. And I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. And I want this just kind of be inspiring. This is not the place where we can say, hey, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, do X, Y, and Z.
Protocol.
Right. We can't say that.
Right.
But what I can tell you is that I have seen some of the most debilitating conditions healed through very non-traditional means, both non-allopathic means, but also non-functional supplement style regimens and things like that. And so I just want this to inspire people to realize, like, if you've been doing the same thing, maybe in a couple of different ways, supplement protocols, or even if you've been doing this circadian stuff, this could be an additional layer of support for you in whatever you're dealing with.
Yeah, I think it is. I really do. And, we should get Dr. Sarah back on here, because we're always having very interesting conversations about physics and gravity and
cosmic tower.
Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting the way that she views things. And we've been through a little rough patch with my daughter, and she says she's been putting out plasma and using her.
She's got both of those plasma projecting devices, doesn't she? Yeah.
And she says she's been using those so that my daughter would have a good birthday, because I was really scared for the last month that we were going backwards. And like I said, we're hopefully back on the up. And she had a wonderful 17th birthday yesterday. The day couldn't have gone better. She was happy. We celebrated, and it was everything I could have asked for. And Dr. Sarah was like, it worked.
Well, it did. It could have been. It could have been any one of these things, but it never hurt. Those things never hurt.
It never hurt.
Again, we have we got to kind of start to regain back that sovereignty of what we can do and what we're capable of. And even though it's fun to gather information and hear what other people are doing and ask for advice, we have to realize that we are our own healer, and we are our own manifester, and we've got means, I think, beyond what we realize we are capable of.
I agree. I love it. Well, I hope this has been an empowering conversation for people, helpful. And yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Bye.
Yay.